Okay, let's continue further. We are done with 3 or 4 programs with regard to the nested if. Primarily, it all zeroes down to the usage of if and if. And just a little reminder, if and if has to be used if you want to have additional condition, or in short, if I make it simple, if you have a program which needs to check or test 2 or more than 2 conditions, that's when you have to use the if, elif, or the nested. Alright? So we'll deal with the final program of today's video lesson, and that is calculate and print the roots of quadratic equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. In your junior classes, we have the formula to find the roots of a polynomial or a quadratic equation, right? So once you have the values for a, b, c, then using a formula, mathematical formula, you'll be able to find out the roots. Okay, there are 3 possible combinations, 3 possible answers. The first one is the roots are real but unequal, or roots are real but equal, and finally you have roots are complex and imaginary, right? So you are well versed with the calculation of the roots of a quadratic equation, right? So we need the formula, right? The formula is, if you could remember correctly, minus b plus minus and then square root of b square, okay, minus 4ac, and the whole thing needs to be divided by 2a, right? So you have plus minus, which means you could get 2 roots, okay, for certain combination. So this is the formula, and then we'll have to write a program using this formula to calculate or to find out the roots of this quadratic equation, right? So we'll just get started. I'll just make some room. Okay, let's go a little up. Okay, this is better. Okay, so let's start the program. Okay, so first things first, I need to get the value of a, b, c, right? I hope you're able to see, or if I just make this a little bigger. Okay, this is better. Bigger the better. All right. So let's say we have values like 1, 3, and 2. Okay, so these are the 3 values for a, b, c of the equation. Okay, so first things first, I need to check whether the value of a is equal to 0 or not. If the value of a is equal to 0, then that should be the end of the program, because you cannot ever have a denominator as 0. Okay, any numbers divided by 0 results in undefined number. So I'll have to take care of that situation first. Okay, so let's start. If the value of a is equal to 0, you can keep it simple by checking the value of a with 0, or if you remember, we have learned this, if not of a. Okay, using the logical operator with the operator. If the value of a is equal to 0, not of 0 is always true. Okay, so this is equal to, this is as good as writing a is equal to 0. Okay, if the condition is true, then I would like to print a message saying a cannot be 0, right? Program is aborting. Aborting means cancelling or coming out, right? Okay, so if a is equal to 0, end of the story. However, else, now this is another program which will help us to understand another variation of the nested if. I told you, right? There could be if and elif, if and else. Okay, so this is just another variation. So else. Now this time, if the condition is false, then I focus on the body of else, right? So again, I can have few more conditions. Now for this, what I do is I check or I calculate the value of delta. I check this, b square minus 4ac. Just look at this, okay? Oh, sorry. Okay, if the value of b square minus 4ac is a negative number, okay, after substituting b, a, c with their respective values, if b square minus 4ac results in a negative number, square root of a negative number is an imaginary number. You don't have a square root of a negative number. You have learned this already, right? If this is the situation, then the roots are complex and imaginary, right? So that's one particular option. Okay. Another option could be if this is if it's a positive number, or if it's a negative. It cannot be a negative number. However, if it results in a positive number, okay, again you can have another option, right? So first thing that we need to do is we calculate the value of b square minus 4ac and make sure that it's not negative. If it's negative, end of the story, right? If it's 0 or if it's positive number, again you have two more possible options, right? So I first check this b square minus 4ac. I calculate b square minus 4ac. So b square is as good as b multiplied with itself and then minus 4. Don't write like this. It's not maths, right? It's a computer science. So 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c, right? So b square minus 4ac. I have just replicated this in the form of this particular expression, right? I now start looking for the option. Alright, if delta is greater than 0, if it's greater than 0, what is meant by this? If the value of b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, if it's a positive number, you will have a solid value, or you will have a certain specific value for square root of a positive number, right? So if the value of delta, if the value of b square minus 4ac is a positive number, if it's greater than 0, then this is going to be the first possible combination, right? So I first calculate root 1. The first root should be calculated as you have minus b, right? So minus b, so you have two signs, right? Plus and then you have the minus. So root 1 will have the plus and then you have the square root. For that, for the time being, we'll use the predefined function. What is meant by a function, all that will come later, but as of now, we'll just focus on math. This is the name of a library in which a mathematical function like square roots are automatically defined. They are predefined, right? So as of now, this much of explanation should do. So math dot square root. And then I write here delta, okay? So this math dot square root is a substitute for the square root. And then you have delta, the value of delta is b square minus 4ac. The whole thing should be divided by 2 times a. So be careful. You'll have to use the bracket to enclose the entire numerator. Otherwise, the calculation may go wrong. Be careful. And then divide it by, do not leave it like this. Okay, 2 multiplied by a. We have learned the associativity, the precedence, the priority of the operators. So be very careful, right? So make sure that you have 2a enclosed in a bracket, right? So you have minus b plus b square root of b square minus 4ac. The whole thing is divided by 2a. Okay. Now the second root is pretty simple, right? So I just copy and paste it, and then I change this, 1 to 2, and then the sign has to be changed to minus, right? So you have two possible values if b square minus 4ac results in a positive number, right? So if the delta is greater than 0, it's a positive number. If it's a positive number, you will have one specific value for square root of a positive number. Hence, we have two root values, root 1 and root 2. And then, okay, once you're done with this, I'll have a message printed, which is like the roots are real and unequal. Okay, you will have two different values, and then let's print the root values. Root 1 is equal to, okay, this is the variable name, right? Root 1. So you have root 1 here, and then root 2 is equal to, okay, root 2. All right. So I'll just have this is equal to, okay, just like this. All right. So I'm done with the first option, right? Now the second option is if the value of delta is equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, what happens? If it's equal to 0, square root of 0 is equal to 0, right? So this whole thing will be cancelled and you'll be just left with minus b divided by 2a. Okay? If the value of delta is equal to 0, the whole thing will disappear and you'll be left with minus b divided by 2a, and you will have just one root value. Okay, it's real, but you will just have one root value. Okay, so I press enter and then I need to come here, right? If this condition is false, and then I have the next one, if delta is equal to 0. If it's equal to 0, then what happens is, just go a little up, okay? If it's equal to 0, then we will have just one root, right? So root is equal to minus b, the whole thing will be 0. I hope you got it. Whole thing will be 0 and divided by 2 multiplied by a. And then let's print a message. Print the roots are real and equal. Alright? Equal. And then you have print the root 1 is equal to, okay, is equal to, so both roots will be equal, right? So you have root and then you have root 2 is again equal to, you have root, right? So it's simple, right? So this is the second possible combination. That is, since the whole thing becomes 0, you will just have one root value, and the message will be roots are real and equal. And then finally, now think, if this is not true, then it has to be a negative number. Okay, so if just one option is left, else will take care of that particular situation. If you have still two more, you cannot have else, rather you have to continue with the elif, with the and followed by the test or the condition, right? So we're just left with the negative value, right? So if it's not positive, if it's not equal to 0, then it has to be negative. Square root of a negative number is undefined, right? So for that, you cannot have any sort of calculation. So just do it away with the message of saying the roots are complex and imaginary, right? Imaginary, right? So I guess that should be the end of the program, and then we'll see whether the program runs correctly or not. Okay? Okay, so I run this and check. Okay, I get this output. Let's check whether the output is correct or incorrect, right? So we'll just go up and try to run the program. Okay? Okay, this is the start of the program. A is 1, B is 3, C is 2. A is equal to 0, the condition is false. Okay, so this statement will not be executed, and then it focuses now on the body of else. And remember, you have one big if, elif, else as the body of else. So it then calculates B square minus 4AC. Okay, let's substitute the value. B is how much? It's 3. Alright, B is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 4 into A into C. A is 1, 2 is, C is 2. So you have 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Okay, so the value of delta is how much? The value of delta is 1. Delta is greater than 0, the condition is true. 1 is greater than 0, right? Now we'll calculate the first root value. Minus b means the value of b is how much? It's 3. Okay, so you have minus 3. Okay, you have minus 3 here, and then plus math dot square. The value of delta is how much? The value of delta is 1. Okay, so you have delta's value as 1, square root of 1 is 1, right? So add these two, you will get the answer of minus 2, right? Minus 2 divided by 2 times a. The value of a is how much? 1. Okay, so you have divided by 2. Minus 2 divided by 2, the root 1's value should be minus 1. Okay, so this should be minus 1. And then likewise, this is minus 3, and then this is minus 1. Minus 3 plus minus 1 is minus 4, okay? And then the value of a is how much? It's a. So minus 4 divided by 2 will give us the answer as minus 2. Okay, so I guess I got it right. So the two possible values of root 1 and root 2 should be minus 1 and minus 2. Roots are real and unequal, right? So likewise, you can you can try running the program for other option like say we'll just change these numbers, say 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll just change it to 3, and then when you run this, the roots are complex and imaginary, right? So when you actually move on with the calculation, b square minus 4ac will give us a negative number. Okay, so in which case this statement will be false. Okay, so this will give us a negative number. If the value of a, b, c are 1, 2, 3 respectively, the value of delta for sure will be a negative number. This condition is false, so the whole block will be skipped. It checks for the next, is it equal to 0? No. Okay, finally we are just left with one statement. You will have roots are complex and imaginary. And then for certain combination, you may have the second condition, that could be true. Delta, if it's equal to 0, you will just get one root value. For that, b square minus 4ac should result in a value of 0. Alright? So with this, we have come to the end of today's lesson, right? So a quick recall. Last week, we have learned if and then if else. Okay? And then today, we have learned if, elif. We came up with several examples, and then finally we touched upon the nested if. Okay, the nested if is nothing but a variation of if, elif, right? So based on the program, these combination, one of these combinations could be used, right? So with this, I have come to the end of today's lesson. I hope you have understood, hopefully. Okay, take care and thank you.